So necessity of Parabrahm's manifest form. So Pragat manifest form. Pratyaksh means manifest. Whenever Shiji Maharaj has talked about how to have firm refuge, conviction, developing conviction, understand his glory, maintain faith, he has said that all of that must have happened for the manifest form of God, right? Whenever he talks about remembering divine incidents, actions, engaging one's minds, he says that that has to happen with the manifest form of God, with the Pratyaksh form of God. He has established the essence and importance of developing conviction and offering devotion, offering upasana, faith, and refuge in the manifest form while doing these spiritual endeavors. Benefits of attaining, maintaining conviction, and worshiping manifest God. Perfect knowledge, perfect worship. Listening, reading, contemplating divine incidents, manifest God. That spirituality first flourishes, worldly desires, eradicate peace, experience liberation, attained. One becomes flawless. One becomes near good. Only through maintaining faith and manifest God with the true knowledge of his glory, one becomes fulfilled, nothing left to accomplish. Manifest God, the ultimate liberation. In the same way, realize glory or pass off that. Nothing more needs to be done. Path of liberation, 100,000 times, 100,000 years. No option but to understand it. Never fall from past thoughts of soul, cause, attaining liberation, transcending, becoming gradual engagement in the Gnan meditation discourses and devotional songs of Vasudeva Bhagavan Purusha the night, transgress Maya, extremely elevated state attains God's exaltation, slowly to manifest form, ultimate mold, manifest sadhu attains liberation, real water obtained, thirst quenched, real food, hunger subside, manifest form, God attained liberation easily, attained 100 millions of other ways, not lead to liberation, disadvantages, not attaining conviction, manifest, worshiping manifest God, great loss, if not develop conviction, not convinced of one's liberation, doubt whether he will obtain liberation, no perfect knowledge, not transcend cycle births and deaths, even if a staunch celibate, great renunciate, extremely difficult to attain liberation, blasphemy against God, laws, base instincts will never be eradicated, for woman, wealth, other worldly pleasure does not eradicate phenomenon of the world, the mind does not become attached to God. Right? He's ignorant, not considered to be fulfilled, extremely deficient, and cannot be called Gunadi devotee. Lower level bliss, considers Brahma plane, lighter Atma to be superior, is called Brija Upasana. Regards the manifest form God to be inferior, Brija Upasana. Does not know his glory, major deficiency despite attaining it. Eternally unfortunate. Victims of the 1876 famine. Ganga Bahad dry, ignorant like children calves, no matter how learned, scholar of the Shastras, orator, but not experience peace or happiness. Millions of commands. The rishis why worship manifest Krishna, but the rishis worship God in non-manifest form. So the wives please God, but the rishis remain unhappy. Great loss, unfortunate. They don't know what the direction they're going. Souls continue to remain cycle birth and deaths, not never liberated, no matter how many mandirs they build, austerities they perform, pilgrimages undertake. Significance of whatever manifestation, present, pratyek form, that means realize the form amidst the divine legs of Mother for you. Same Mother is in Akshardham, it is right over here, manifest. No difference between the two. Pratyek manifest relates to that the manifest form of God is Bhagavan Swaminarayan, right? We can see these are the topics that are in forever manifest. Bhagavan Swaminarayan, complete manifestation through the Sant. Right? Whenever Jiva attains human body and birth, and the gods of the gods of the will always be present on the earth. So Jiva must attain him, and then he can be called a devotee of God. God is not manifest on the earth, seek the refuge of that sadhu, because the Jiva can attain liberation through that sadhu. Many different examples when God is on this earth, but manifest through the God realized sadhu. Right. So the company of a great sadhu is equal to the company of the manifest form. God resides totally within. If God is not present in the murtis, well, we know that the sadhu is able to instill divinity within the murtis. And these three things, shastras, pilgrim places, right? Shastras, pilgrim places, as well as the murtis, cannot be without the Gurunathi sadhu. That he is able to install all of them. Right. He is able to make all three of them. And such a devotee of God possesses countless noble virtues. Right, the powers are such that it is God who sees through his eyes, so he's able to power the eyes. God walks through his legs, strength, indriyas, and power all indriyas. Darshan of sun, darshan goes God. There's infinite qualities. Sun speaks, Maharaj speaks. Sun talks, he talks. See, awake, eats, hurts. Right, not even a iota of difference between Maharaj and God, and Maharaj and the sun. Right? God is under his control. He travels to wherever he says. Five grave sins are buried by his darshan. Worshipping body, Jeev is worship. Worshipping sadhu, God is worshipped. He's like a human, but he's not. God is eternally present in Vakshar Brahm, the sun through whom Bhagavan Swaminarayan manifests. So many sadhus and devotees have attained the spiritual state of liberation. But who is the sun that Maharaj is referring to? That Akshar Brahm. We know that Akshar Brahm is Gurunath Swami, right? Is it possible that all these spiritual elevated sadhus and devotees, the mothers manifest through them? If that was the case, there would be numerous manifest form of God, but there was only one manifest form of God, and that was the Guru Son. Right, but Brahma eternally resides with the divine form Akshardham through his Vyatari form, but he simultaneously also resides in Akshar Brahm, Akshar Moksha, Ishwar and Chiefs. But he does not reside in all of these to the extent that he resides in Akshar Brahm, does not manifest in Purpati Purush to the extent that he manifests in Akshar Brahm. He totally resides in Akshar, totally resides in Akshar Brahm, right? The Anadi, Akshar, Gunadi Purush, right? So he, in the same way that there are many gopis, but Radha is the main gopi. So similarly, Anadi Purush, Anadi Akshar Brahm, eternally remain present on earth, remains fully in Anadi Gunadi Purush. Right? We know that PSM Shiji Maharaj revealed Granth Swami and so on the entire lineage. So the main concept here, main concept of this section, Akshar Brahm, is that many different sadhus, but the main one is GS, who is Akshar Brahm, and he does not manifest in Prakriti Purusha, all these different entities so that to the extent that he manifests totality and in totality within Akshar Brahm. Absolutely divine. Necessity of understanding Parabrahma as divine. It is essential. Benefits of understanding them as divine flawless. One becomes flawless. It is the dharma of a devotee to realize all of God's actions and incidents redemptive. It is the bhakti of such devotee to perceive all worldly actions and incidents of God as being divine. Right? It is only he who attains the highest state of enlightenment, and no difficulties in subduing the desires from the Panchakshas. Realize God to be ageless, free from cycle of births and deaths. Divine and human characteristics of God are equal. True bliss of worshiping God is attained. Free from all blemishes, nothing else left to do. Understanding God is fault free. One becomes fault free. Loss due to perceiving human traits. Never be freed from those faults. One becomes full of faults. One becomes full of vices and virtue and vicious natures. Cannot overcome Maya. Extremely upset. Perceives flaws more despondent, ultimately falls from something attaining liberation will be very difficult once falls cannot be eradicated. Suffer from vicious thoughts becomes like the dark moon of almas cannot transcend cycle of births and deaths and torments of Yampuri. How is but a divine flawless extraordinary above Maya three gunas. Maya does not influence above the influence of Maya attributes. One cannot experience his divinity until one has overcome Maya. Has said this in the Vaishnava as well. He is all pervasive, constant, divine in his every single pore, every single body, every single element in his body is divine without Maya attributes, constantly beyond Maya, flawless. That is how Parabrahma is divine. Many different parts of this divine is Vatari form of Akshardham, form in Akshardham, permanent, luminous. Shastras may say that these he doesn't have hands, he doesn't have feet, but those refute the Maya can't Maya feet, so he's all eternally divine. The entities that are evolved from the guns of Maya, Panchbhuts, Indriyas, they are never in God's form at any time, divine in human form on earth. So he surprises his divinity sometimes for the benefit of the G. So he may appear like him, but he's always eternally divine. He is never Maya. Right? Out of compassion for the liberation of the Jews, he manifests on the earth. So one should realize that this form of God on earth is exactly the same form God is in Akshardham. There is no slight difference. The phases of childhood youth, when he goes through his entire human life cycle, those are perceived due to his yoga powers creating illusion, but he remains absolutely unchanged, forever divine. Becomes like a human out of compassion. But all of his actions are divine, flawless and divine. Not even the slightest for the lust, anger, jealousy enters his heart. He swears by the lives of all Brahmins that never has had improper thought or will through women in the waking or dreaming. Say he is eternally flawless, right? He does not harbor any desire for the affection of the third point, which he manifests its own flaws and divine. Above the three bodies, Thul Sukshma Karan, above three stage Jagrat Swapna. Surpati does not believe in the actions of the 14 Indriyas. He suppresses the actions of Maya's Guni. Only he observes the 5 religious vows. Only performs activities related to God. He's worthy of being worshipped on par with God. Divine through his all pervasive and form. So he pervades Jard and Chaitanya tattvas, but despite that, he is untouched by those Maya flaws. He pervades the 4 bhuts, but he is untouched. He dwells in there as the Atma, but he remains absolutely untouched, untainted, and remains and maintains his own unique characteristics. Right? The disturbances such as Maya and other factors do not influence them. Divine despite being the all-knower. So he is the all-doer, sustainer, controller, governor, destroyer of infinite universes. But wherever he does, wherever he goes, no actions performed by anyone through his power inspiration can actually affect him. He is the all-doer, but he remains eternally unaffected, pure and untainted, remains untouched by all the flaws and changes of karmas and all the different Maya attributes. He is beyond their influence, but he is still the all-doer. right? He remains absolutely disinterested and detached. Akshar Brahm introduction. True definition of Akshar Brahm Tattva is second importance of Parabrahm is the abode of Parabrahm. It's called Akshardham Brahma Brahmapur. Cannot be found. This description, Bhagavan Swami description of Akshar Brahm Tattva cannot be found anywhere else. There is in the Smriti Shastras, Itriyas, Puran, and other Hindu Shastras, there is this concept, Akshar and Brahm. There is this concept, Akshar Brahm, and they are often used synonymously. But there is no fully comprehensive description of what this actually Akshar Brahm Tattva actually is. They regard Parabrahma as the highest supreme tattva, but the distinct natures of Brahma and Parabrahma have not been made clear in the Vedanta Shastras. So Maharaj has explained the necessity of Akshar Brahm on the path to liberation extremely clearly. And he not only that, but he has also brought the form of Akshar Brahm as well as the other different books on this earth through a human form. And through becoming Akshar Brahm and through association of him, could we attain ultimate liberation. And that Akshar Brahm is forever present on this earth. So few main things in the true definition. Second most important tattva, we know that the clear description is not given anywhere else. These shastras they do talk about Brahm, but not in comprehensive description to the extent that Maharaj has talked about it in the Vajramuts and in his discourses. Right, it has not been made clear the distinct nature of Akshar Brahm and Brahm. Right, but Maharaj has made this clear, and he not only that, he has brought the Akshar Muks and Akshar Brahm on this earth, and one can become like Brahmru by associating with him. Necessity of understanding the form of Akshar Brahm. To attain true conviction in Parabrahm. So very difficult to attain true conviction, but we can do this. And why is it very difficult? Because our Indriyas and Andhakaras are Mayik, God is not Mayik. So it's unperceptible to our Mayik, Indriyas, and Andhakarans. Right? And Shastras, the essence of the Shastra can only be explained through the Ekantik Vak and through the Ekantik Satpurush. They cannot be explained through anyone else, never can be attained by anyone else. It's only possible to truly understand the form of Parabrahm from the Ekantik Satpurush. Right? Such discourses regarding nature of God can only be understood by oneself through the Ekantik Satpurush. Only through hearing his discourses. Because Akshar Brahm is eternally beyond Maya, he is the closest of all to Akshar Brahm. So no one can understand the glory of Parabrahm to the extent that Akshar Brahm can, because he is closest to him. So associate with Parabrahm. It's like the sun, in the sense that when the sun rises, all 10 directions can be determined. When the sun rises at dawn, we are able to determine east in all directions. In the same way, when one understands the form of Akshar Brahm, one can understand the form of Parabrahm as well. Right, cause of all of these infinite universes is Akshar Brahm, which is the abode of Bhagavan, Purushottam Bhagavan. Right, Akshar Brahm, which is the abode of Purushottam Bhagavan, right? And Parabrahm is above Akshar. One who realizes Brahm attains Parabrahm. So to attain true conviction, in essence, is understanding Parabrahm. Why? Because he's above these Mayik attributes. So we cannot understand it because of our Mayik attributes. And Shastras cannot be understood by one's intellect alone. It has to be interpreted by the Ekantik Vak. Liberation can only be done by this Ekantik Vak and associate through him when Maharaj is not present on earth. We know that it's only possible to attain true conviction of Parabrahm through Akshar Brahm because he's eternally above Maya, very essential. It compares it to the sun, able to determine 10 directions, east. And then we talked about the glory of Akshar, right? This is all in to attain true conviction of Parabrahm. To become Brahmarup, Shri Maharaj's command to become Brahmarup and offer Upasana, right? Identify oneself with Brahm, separate from the three bodies, draw subtle, casual, eternally offer devotion to God. Right? That Brahm is distinct, or that transcending that Brahm is Purushottam, was distinct from Brahm, cause, support, and inspired Brahm. And one should develop oneness with one Jivatma and with that Brahm, and worship Parabrahm while maintaining a master's relationship with him. So become Aksharup and worship and offer Bhakti and true Upasana to Parabrahm. Necessity, why do we want to become Parabrahm? Well, first is to attain the highest level of Nikar faith. We know, look up with Uttamavati Nishrecha Gansham, right, that Pradna, may I develop the highest level of Niruka faith. Millions of Brahmans appear like mere atoms before him. That is the greatness of Akshar, the abode of Parabrahm. The eligibility to offer highest level of devotion to Parabrahm, we know that sadhana bhakti is the 9 types of bhakti. But after becoming Brahmarup, one is eligible to offer Sandhya bhakti, which is the highest level of devotion. Only one who is Brahma has the right to offer bhakti to Purushottam. To be able to offer devotion free of all obstacles. The main hurdles are lust, ego, greed, taste, affection, ego, envy, jealousy, love, hate. attachment to punch, cliches, ego, shortcomings. All flaws reside in the flaw of identifying oneself with the body. Maya is nothing but sense of I-ness toward the body and minus towards anything related by. So Maya, these bunch of shades, these swabhavs are get us in the way of offering devotion to God. And so unless when someone understands the body to be true self, an entire understanding is worthless. So we have examples of Shivji, Mohini, and then Brahma, Saraswati, the Sarda Mary, Indra Chandra, all their devs are reputations were blemished due to their mistakes. Also, no King Parikshit also attributed human faults and questioned the devotee of Sri Krishna Bhagavan after hearing of that last episode. The inner enemies of lust, anger, right, can only be demolished when one believes oneself to be the Atma or Brahman, distinct from the three bodies. If one can realize one's Atma to be distinct from the three bodies, then one will no longer harbor any love for one's body and relatives, no longer any hindrances in offering bhakti to God. Right, so that is why one should become Brahma, behave, realize oneself to be a Yatma, is to get rid of all of these inner enemies. For ultimate liberation, Mukti is to become Brahma, render service to Parabrahma. We have Videha Mukti, and then we also have Jivan Mukti, which is while being alive. And one who does not offer bhakti to Parabrahma after becoming Brahma, it cannot be said to have attained that highest level, ultimate liberation. And one who reaches up to them, I think quality similar to those of Bhakti, forever remains in the service of God, forever has darshan. And such a devotee with perfect Gnan is conscious only of his Atma, believe his Atma to be Brahma. And that Purushottam Bhagavan forever resides in his Brahma body. Divine light is generated in the heart of the thinker, and he has realization of himself as being Brahma. So for ultimate liberation, becoming Brahma is essential for becoming. And in that, we have two types of liberation, Videha Mukti, Jivan Mukti. What is that type? When he leaves his body, becomes free of influences, attains Akshardham via the Archimag. And the state of liberation in Akshardham, which is attaining quality similar to those of that of Akshardham, forever remaining in the service of God. And then believing his own Atma to be Brahmarup, and that Purushottam Bhagavan to forever reside in Atma. And then one cannot be Brahmarup if one does not offer bhakti to Parabrahma after having become Brahma. That cannot be said to have attained ultimate liberation. Since it is Shri Mata's heartfelt wish and principle. So we'll stop there and then we'll continue.